episode 8 of Between a Rock and a Bald Spot.
I'm a rock.
I'm a bald spot. How are you, Rocco?
Not sick for once. Surprisingly.
Holy shit.
I know, right?
It's a fucking Christmas miracle.
Yeah,
shit.
Christmas miracle in the middle of May.
This kid's been going on and off of sick for like 7 decades now.
I think it's that I only mention I'm sick, and I never mention when I'm healthy, so it seems like I'm only sick. But there was that time though where I had COVID, and then I had long COVID, and then I had COVID again, and I also had like the flu and food poisoning. I don't know. It was like 5 months
back, basically.
Yeah, it was like 5 months where I was just sick the whole time.
Then your kids get sick. You finally get healthy. Your kids get sick, and then you get sick from them.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like that.
You read Game of Thrones, right?
I read the entire first book, and I read the second book about 2/3.
Okay. I have read none of them, but I did watch every season of the show.
Perfect.
I have not watched House of Dragons.
I don't know. I think it's House of Dragons.
I think it's House of Dragons. I've not watched that. I'm waiting for all of that to release the same way I did with Game of Thrones.
Right.
There is another show coming out called Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Perfect.
And it got delayed. There was no release date until the delay. They were just kind of
Hey, we have the show coming out.
Yeah. Hey, our show's coming out, and guess what?
It's delayed. Yeah.
So they were kind of just saying late 2025. And so now they're kind of like, hey, just kidding. It's going to come out in 2026.
All right.
So there's still no like concrete date yet. I mean the story sounds cool. So it is based off of a novella that George R.R. already did. Perfect. Called The Tales of Dunk and Egg.
Is that a character? Or a location? Characters. Oh, Duncan and Egg?
Dunk and Egg.
Oh.
Okay. And there's some slight spoilers on who Egg is, but
the dragon
sounds like it could be cool. So it is supposed to be.
Wait, what time period is this set? So it's in the Game of Thrones world.
Yeah, it's in the Game of Thrones world. It's 100 years before Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I believe is what it said. But yeah, I mean, it sounds cool. It focusing, because I'm assuming it's going to focus on just the two characters. That sounds kind of cool to me. Yeah. I'm down with that.
That could be fine.
Yeah, it looks like I thought I had that fucking written down and I did not. I'm pretty sure it said 100 years before Game of Thrones though. Okay, yeah, so it's roughly 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones and 100 years after House of the Dragon. So House of the Dragon is evidently 200 years, I guess, before Game of Thrones.
Okay,
that's interesting. Yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, Game of Thrones is sick, obviously, except for like the last season. Are you ever gonna watch that?
Probably not. So, well, it's like one of those things. Like I know everything that happens, basically.
It's really good television. Do you really like Lord of the Rings?
I mean, I do. I wouldn't necessarily put them in the same category. I mean, they're fantasy.
There's swords and dragons. What more do you need?
Tolkien.
Damn. Nah, I recommend it. I mean, it's a lot to fucking trudge through, obviously, because that was back when shows did like fucking 15 episode seasons or some shit. It's not like the 8 episode seasons we get fucking nowadays.
Well, even if shows weren't, even if they tried to make it an 8 episode season, they wouldn't be able to. Those books are kind of long.
They're very long. I actually want to get like the box set and read it at some point.
Well, it's not finished, though. You might want to wait until all of them are out.
I'm gonna fucking let me not hold my breath on that.
Yeah, you might die first. I mean,
I honestly, George R. R. Martin's gonna die first.
Well, once he dies, then you can just you can buy him then.
I'll do that. That's a good idea. They're only seasons 1 through 6 are 10 episodes. Season 7 is 7 episodes, and season 8 is 6. That's dude. That is so. I'm still fucking angry about that, and I'm glad I consumed that media in the way that I did, and I waited until several years later, and like I even went into it knowing, like, hey, you're probably about to get let down by this. And it didn't hit as bad as like if you were waiting week to week to week, and then like this, because I think there were several years in between
a couple of the seasons.
Yeah, so dude, that would have really fucking sucked. Yeah, so it looks like season 1 was all in 2011, season 2 was 2012, season 3 2013.
Oh, they were kind of cranking them out. So the one thing I'll say is they started this whole project right when the 4th book came out. Like I think, like I don't want to like be wrong on that, but I think
how many books are there total?
I think there's 7.
Holy shit.
So the thing is I own 5. I own the first 5. Okay, so it's A Game of Thrones is the first one. A Clash of Kings is the second one. A Storm of Swords is the third one. A Feast for Crows is the 4th one. Did I just say 4th twice in a row?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we're on 4. Okay. So it was right when the 5th book came out. A Dance of Dragons came out in 2011. And then, yeah, Winds of Winter is planned and A Dream of Spring is planned for books 6 and 7. And that's the entire A Song of Ice and Fire saga.
Let's get stupid.
Who is?
George.
True. So he hasn't even put a book out in 14 years as part of that saga. But I mean, so there were some gaps. A Feast for Crows was 2005, and then the book after that was 2011, and then before that was 2000, and then it was 96, 98, 2000. So it was like he had like a decent pace, and then he just fucking, I don't know, started living in Santa Fe or something.
Out. I don't think he wants to say it, but I think he burned himself out because he cranked out a lot of like world building and lore and shit like that.
Like
and I
think like extra appendices type bullshit to fill in gaps and all that. That, or there's just been such a gap that like maybe he's got like a rough draft or something down, but he's just like not enough that he, I mean, we could speculate about it all day, but I don't know. He hit some sort of snag or hang up.
Yeah.
But okay, so like I said, the show started coming out when the 5th book came out, and I think that's when I read them, because maybe it wasn't that year, but it was like the next year. Some friends of mine were really into the books, like they read all of them, and they were really excited for the show. Like they were hoping that they would, like, after reading the books, because they had read them before the 5th book came out, so they had read the first 4, and they were hoping for a film or something, like a Lord of the Rings type film. And when they heard it was a TV show, they were like, oh, it's a TV show, that's great, because then they can take their time more and like actually explore and like world build and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes movies just isn't enough time.
Although that being said, Peter Jackson did a phenomenal job with Lord of the Rings film.
Yeah, but they're almost 3 hours long. That's why.
Well, if he hadn't cut anything, they'd probably each be like 7 hours.
God, that is ridiculous.
The first book is actually not that bad. He did remove a substantial, like a whole, he took out like a whole, everyone's favorite character, Tom Bombadil. He took out like that entire segment of the book, which is fine. It kind of,
Tom Bergeron, the old host of America's Funniest Home Videos, that guy.
Yeah, exactly. The part he removed kind of was like in a weird, like it was a weird place in the book, and it was kind of like made the pacing kind of weird. It's not that it was unimportant or boring, it was just like it removing that was probably the right idea. Anyways, that's
interesting. Yeah, I've never read those books either. Which I probably should. I actually have never even seen the full, what is it? Director's cut, extended cut, whatever the fuck.
Extended edition.
Yeah, I've never watched those of Lord of the Rings. I do own it. I own it for the entire series, like the Hobbit trilogy and Lord of the Rings. So I want to at some point watch all of them in the extended cuts.
When I'm thinking about it, like it adds a lot. I mean, I think it adds like, I think one of them it's only like 15 minutes more, but I think two of the films get like an extra 40 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
But it's one of those things that like I think they're like watching the extended edition is fine, but I think as works of cinema, the theatrical releases are just like better pieces of cinema. Now, if you're already hella into like the films and stuff and you just want a little bit more, like the extended editions are sick for that. But
I've just seen them each several times. Well, except for the Hobbit trilogy. I haven't seen any of those ever, but I've seen the theatrical cuts of the Lord of the Rings trilogy several times each.
Well, so the Hobbit trilogy is one of those things that like you should watch it at least once, but it's not as good. And
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Well, so let me temper that by saying that the original book, The Hobbit, is you're supposed to read it as if Bilbo wrote it, who's the main character.
Okay.
Which you're supposed to read Lord of the Rings like that also. You're supposed to read it like Frodo wrote the book, and then the parts where like Frodo is missing from like the other groups is like, I don't know how Tolkien exactly like does it in the book. I don't remember, but it's like Frodo wrote the book and then he's retelling what they said transpired when he wasn't like with them.
Okay.
So like,
so it's still coming from him, but it's like,
yeah. So you're supposed to read.
Not there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're supposed to read the books like he is writing about, like it's like historical events that he's documenting. Basically, like it's more like a journal than a novel, right?
Yeah.
But I think when you read the, I don't know. So, the Hobbit films are good, like I said, but they incorporate a lot of the expanded universe or whatever you want to call it. That's like the Star Wars term, I guess, but maybe the Tolkien term also. But so Christopher Tolkien, I think that's his name, Tolkien's son, right? He helped with all of that, and he helped with like bringing in and finishing some of the works. And I have a pretty good trust of him, because the whole reason that Tolkien even wrote any of his books, apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, this is just what I heard, but apparently he was just telling stories, like bedtime stories, essentially. That was Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
That's kind of funny.
To his son. And his son was like, hold on, you just contradicted yourself, or you forgot this part, or what about this character, or whatever. Because his son was a child, so he was sharp in remembering all this stuff. And so he's like, all right, you little shit, I'm just going to start writing it all down so you don't fucking be pulling the wool over my eyes or anything. So I trust him when he finished the work. Like, I trust him to finish the work because he grew up in the work, right? Like, it only exists because of him. So I think we'll be all right on that. George R.R. Martin needed a son to fucking poke him in the ribs or something, I guess, to fucking get him to finish his shit.
Yeah, that's accurate. Real quick before we go to the Odyssey, I'm getting pretty far into my MCU rewatch. I just finished Age of Ultron, and I started Ant-Man. So I'm getting decently far, and so I'm gonna break it down by phase, and I'm gonna give like, it's still gonna be like a top 5 review, or not review, but it's still gonna be like a top 5 ranking. But I'm gonna go through like phase to phase, and I'll be like, boom, boom, boom. That's phase 1. Boom, boom, boom. Phase 2, so on and so forth. Just that way, I'm not like fucking.
Are there only 5 films per phase?
Not quite.
So are you gonna rank all the films, or you're just gonna rank the top 5 and everything under 5? You're just gonna be like is doo-doo water.
So
or something?
I was gonna give my top 5 movies, but I was gonna go through and give my ranking of each movie.
Okay.
Which I mean, I guess technically you'll be able to. Well, I don't know, maybe I think for it to be in my top 5, it's gonna have to be a 9 and above, probably.
Makes sense.
Maybe 8.5, but probably 9 and above.
You wait until you have all your scores. Don't say anything yet, because you might not even have 5 9 and aboves.
Yeah, that's true.
The fun thing is after you watch all of them and rank all of them, you have to watch them all again to double check now that you have all of them fresh in your mind.
Like, hold on, do I actually think that? It kind of sucks because I want to watch Thunderbolts again. Because that's based off of my theater viewing of that's ranked really high. And I want to rewatch it again just to like confirm that. And I don't think that's gonna release on Disney or disc until like fucking August. So that kind of sucks.
That
so
kind of sucks.
Oh, you know what?
Oh.
Brave New World was supposed to get delivered today, and I don't think it did.
Oh, I think you can stream it on Disney now.
RIP. Yeah, it was supposed to come today. I think a couple more days for that. So it's supposed to come today, and now it says expected by May 21st. So rip that.
Perfect. Call and file a complaint. Your food is cold.
Anyways,
I mean, what?
That'll be on Disney like before I fucking before I ever get there anyway, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, the Odyssey, the movie being directed by Christopher Nolan himself, is going to be shot entirely in IMAX, which is really fucking cool because that'll be the first movie to ever be done so. Because historically speaking, unless it's a digital IMAX camera, those cameras are fucking loud, evidently, and bulky. And so typically directors only use them for like high intensity like action scenes or something like that. I guess like if there's like a lot of stuff going on,
makes sense.
It's easier to drown out the noise. But Oppenheimer was shot a lot in IMAX, not entirely, I don't think, but a good chunk of it was. And it earned 190 million in IMAX screenings, which is fucking insane. So that's like 20% of its total gross. So a lot of people were seeing that in IMAX. So Nolan challenged the company. What?
I just feel like Oppenheimer's such a weird film to be like, you know what? Let's go watch this in IMAX, dude.
Yeah, yes. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
So it makes sense. I mean, Nolan always does his movies in IMAX.
Right. I mean, you can tell where it is in like the Dark Knight franchise.
Yeah, so I think it's like a precedent that he's been like building up to, and I think like Oppenheimer being his most recent movie, I think people are just like, oh, hey, it's a Nolan movie, let's go see it in IMAX.
True. That makes sense. Wait, what did he do before that?
Tenet.
Oh, okay.
Which is really fucking good. I need to rewatch that again. That's a really fucking solid movie. So he challenged the company to fucking improve its cameras and make them lighter and quieter. And he said, if you do, I will 100% I will shoot 100% of my next movie, The Odyssey, in IMAX. And so they fucking did it. And they're fucking holding him to it. So
John Bernthal's in this movie?
Dude, have you seen the whole cast list?
I mean, it's got pretty a fucking
stacked ass. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, John Bernthal. Elliot Page, Anne Hathaway, dude, holy shit. Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron. I don't actually know how to say
Charlize, I think.
Is it Charlize? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Charlize.
Who else do I know here? Maybe that's everybody I know. Corey Hawkins looks familiar.
Corey Hawkins does look familiar.
I thought that said Jon Stewart. I was like, I know who Jon Stewart is. I don't know who Josh Stewart is.
Perfect.
Yeah, that is pretty stacked.
Oh, Corey Hawkins was in Straight Outta Compton.
Ah, okay. The Last Voyage of the Demeter. He was just in a Greek movie.
Is The Last Voyage of the Demeter a Greek movie?
No, apparently it's a horror movie, but I was gonna say Demeter is a Greek god, is she not?
Yeah, it's the name of the ship.
Yeah, I saw that once I clicked on it.
Yeah, it's a vampire movie. That movie is actually super fucking solid.
Hell yeah. Those are vampires? They look like fucking whatever. I guess it does look like a vampire.
Werewolves?
Yeah, sure. Speaking of vampires, have you seen Morbius yet? Where's that on your list of Marvel MCU
I'm not
films?
fucking watching that.
Watch it.
I mean, I'll watch it, but not as part of my Marvel watch.
As an honorable mention or something, like watch Morbius and just watch it and just see how you rank it. The CGI is terrible, but like it's actually a solid movie, I think.
All right, I'll watch it for you, and I'll rank it.
It's
spoilers for the list. So far I only have one movie that's below a 5, and it's the first Thor, and I gave it a 4.
4 for Thor. 4 Thors for more dog shit movies.
Thors, exactly.
I mean, how many Thor movies are actually good? Just the third one?
Depending on who you ask.
Just the third one.
Yeah, a lot of people say just the third.
I like the first, and I kind of like the second one, not gonna lie.
Ironically, I'm actually kind of glad I'm doing this. I am finding myself to be a little bit more of a fan of the older movies than I remembered. I might have mentioned this before. I've tried going back to rewatch the first few movies at some point, and I was like, ugh, I really don't want to do this. Or like if I thought about I would think about rewatching like Iron Man 1 or 2 or something, and then I would stop myself. And so I started this out and I was like committed to it. And rewatching Iron Man 1 and 2, I was like, oh, these actually aren't nearly as bad as I remembered. And I ranked them pretty high. Same thing with Thor, the Dark World, whatever the fuck it is.
The Thor. I think it's just the Dark World, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is just the Dark World. I didn't rank it super high, but it was more enjoyable to watch than I remembered as well. So if you're a fan of the Marvel movies, they have been going for almost 20 years. If you haven't watched the older ones in a while, I recommend doing a rewatch because they actually hold up decently well.
True.
I'm kind of expecting that to fall off kind of soon. I know some people started getting kind of burnt out. Like some people got burnt out leading up to Infinity War, but definitely after Endgame, a lot of people were like, "Oh, these suck."
For me, it was the sequels. Like if there's a 2 attached to any of the films, that was where I was like, I don't want to watch the second one. The first one was okay. I'm like done.
I hope you didn't feel that way about Winter Soldier.
I did. I'd still stand by that. I think Dark World is better than Winter Soldier because I didn't like that fucking movie at all. I thought we talked about this.
That's crazy. I think you should rewatch Winter Soldier.
I mean,
Winter
that's
Soldier's
what we decided.
Phenomenal.
Because I don't even remember what happens in that movie other than there's Bucky jumps off a bridge. And then he's like running like the fucking Terminator or something.
Dude, ironically, they actually play some very similar music to that too. I think that was the point. Because
like
when that scene happened, it was like the iconic like dun 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 dun. And I was like, yo, fucking Terminator.
Dude, I feel like when I was watching that, I was like, what, they just fucking copied the Terminator or something? I don't know.
Rewatch it.
Okay, I will.
Oh, dude. Last thing I will say about it, Guardians 1, such a fucking good movie. I remember that's actually ironically what got me back into the Marvel movies. So I watched Iron Man 1 and 2. I watched Hulk. I completely legally watched the first Avengers movie. And that was like,
what does that mean?
Kinda it. And so then Guardians was coming out. One of my buddies was like, "Hey, let's go watch the new Guardians of the Galaxy." And I was like, "Who the fuck is that guy?" And he was like,
I see.
"It's like the Avengers but space."
I was like, "All right, you're talking about recently. You're talking about originally."
Yeah, like in 2012 when it came out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I own it in fucking 4K. They got their due diligence from me. Fuck them. Anyways, went to go see Guardians, and that movie is actually the movie that restoked my interest in watching the Marvel movies, because Guardians 1 was so fucking good. And rewatching it, I was like, holy shit, this movie is so fucking good. Like I'd forgotten how much I loved it. Excuse me, I just fucking burped. I forgot how much I fucking loved that movie. It is solid. Anyways, though, there's gonna be a whole segment into Guardians. Into Marvel when I finish.
Hell yeah.
In a few weeks.
My story is similar-ish, but completely different. I was always DC everything. Like, Marvel was stupid. I hated Marvel. Like, Marvel sucks. Like, Marvel had, in my worldview, like, DC had Batman, and Batman trumped everything. And the only thing that was even close to competing that Marvel had was Spider-Man.
That's fair.
Yeah. And so, like, at the time, like, you look at the movies prior to the MCU, and DC was killing it. Like, I mean, the Spider-Man films were really good with Tobey Maguire, but the Andrew Garfield ones were not. I mean, I think they're generally looked back upon with some fondness, but like, I didn't care for them really.
Dude, they are now, but I had some fucking Mandela effect with that, because when they came out, I remember people fucking shitting on them, and in my memory,
what I remember. Dude, I remember people like treating it like it was fucking Twilight. Like, they're like, dude, this shit's fucking ass. And, and they were competing against fucking Christopher Nolan's fucking Batman. Like, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, like, not only is it Nolan, but it's also Batman.
Yeah,
like it's double stacked against you.
So like the MCU started coming out, and I had just heard that Hulk movie. I still have never seen that Hulk movie, and I don't think I ever will, honestly. I had heard that it was like bad, like from the rip, like it was just a bad film. And the previous Hulk films were not. I think the first one was okay, but like they weren't like spectacular. I'm talking about like was that like 2002 or whatever when that one came out?
Yeah. Eric Bana.
Yeah.
I think it was 2002, 2003, something like that.
Which that one scared me, by the way, because the fucking dogs. The Hulk dogs.
Same, the dogs in the lightning scene.
Yeah.
Like, towards the end.
Well, you gotta remember, I'm significantly older than you, and that still scared me.
Because you a bitch.
True. I was like, when did that come out? If it's 2002, I was like fucking 11, and I feel like that's too old to be getting scared by that. But I digress. So
I wish I could type. Holy shit!
I saw the first Iron Man film, and I was like, damn, that was actually pretty good. And then I saw Captain America, and I was like, it's kind of like, the thing was, I liked Captain America, and then I saw that film, and I was like, kind of dumb.
Yeah, it came out 2003.
And then I was like, why does he have a gun? And then he got rid of his gun. I was like, okay, where did his gun go? And then I was like, what the fuck? Why did he never shoot his gun? I don't even know if he shoots that gun in the movie. He shoots a gun in some movie, but I don't know about that one. And then they had Red Skull, and I was like, that's kind of weird. They're putting like Red Skull. That's like his like arch nemesis. But I guess they've done that with a couple of the movies already. The characters fight their arch nemesis like right away.
Well, Cap's kind of a special case because I think Red Skull. I don't know. I've never read any of his comics. I don't
Me either.
know if Red Skull ever is a modern day villain for him. He might always be like a pre-freezing villain because he's a fucking Nazi.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure there's probably some stories where he ends up getting frozen with Cap or some shit like that. I'm sure.
Who knows? And then, well, I mean, so they were laying the groundwork for the whole like Infinity Saga and everything being interconnected. And at the time, I didn't really appreciate that like at all. Because like at the end of the Captain America film, he's like dancing or whatever with Black Widow. And they're like trying to be like, oh, like it's still the 40s or whatever. Like you were asleep for 2 weeks or whatever. And then he like goes outside or however he fucking, I don't actually remember the end credit scene, but he like realizes that it's not 1945 anymore. It's like fucking 2011 or whatever, 2008. And so that film for me was kind of like, eh. And then I didn't watch any of the other movies. I think I watched Thor also right then. And then I didn't watch anything for a while. And then I watched like The Avengers. And I was like, that's pretty good. And then, like I said, like anything that was like a sequel, I just didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And then Black Panther came out, and Black Panther was like a huge success. Like everybody was raving about how good Black Panther was. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
But Black Panther was like gigantic. And I was like, dude, what is this fucking hype about? So I went and I watched Black Panther. So I saw Avengers. And then the next MCU film I watched was Black Panther.
Holy shit, brother.
Yeah. And I was like, brother, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
There's a chunk you haven't seen then, isn't it?
Well, at that time. And then I was like, all right, I got to go back. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on because Black Panther happened, and then I saw there was a Spider-Man. I was like, what the fuck? There's Spider-Man? Because I think Black Panther came out after Civil War, and Spider-Man was in Civil War, and then Homecoming was coming out, and I was like, what the fuck? There's a new Spider-Man? So then I went back, and I was like, okay, well, where's the first time he shows up? And I was like, oh, Civil War. Okay, I got to watch that. I was like, okay, well, Civil War is the third Captain America? I was like, what the shit? I have so much work to do. So I went back, and I rewatched everything up to Black Panther. And then I went with my friends to go watch Infinity War and Endgame. So there's a couple films actually in between Infinity War and Endgame that I haven't seen. The second Ant-Man and Captain Marvel. I haven't seen those.
You not watching Captain Marvel makes sense. Wait a minute. Captain Marvel or The Marvels?
Both.
Okay,
I've seen
that makes
neither.
sense because we know your stance on fucking Brie Larson.
Well, dude, just I don't know her. It's like I read some reviews about her being like a cunt during like filming and stuff, and yeah, I know. And then apparently she's just a bitch to work with. Like nobody fucking likes her.
Her performance falls a little flat, but they're still decent movies.
Oh. I mean,
the first one more so than the sequel. I do think the sequel of the Marvel or like the Marvels.
I don't know.
I think it was not as strong, but
it was. I don't know. I just Brie Larson is. I mean, we said this last week. I think literally, I don't think she's necessarily a bad actor. I just don't think that she played Captain Marvel well, and that's a character that I had liked previously. And now it's like when someone mentions Captain Marvel, I'm like, eh. So for her to have that sort of effect is kind of telling, I guess.
Yeah. You have more time than me, so you could easily catch up and probably fucking pass me, but
I wouldn't though.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say you should. True. You got naps to be taken. You should do a rewatch though, or fucking not even a rewatch on some of these. It would be just a first time viewing. So that way we could compare fucking rankings.
Well, I know the first Thor is not getting a 4. That's for fucking sure. like a 6 or a 7.
You
Yeah,
watch it.
It's like I've seen it recently. I've seen it within the last year. And it's like the 4th or 5th time I've seen it.
That's crazy. Because the kids
watch. They were watching shit all the time. I've seen most of Ant-Man 2 actually because they're always watching it. And like I said, the TV is right behind the camera, so like I'll be sitting here doing whatever.
Ant-Man 2 is not bad. Quantumania got shit on. I liked Quantumania.
Is that the 3rd one? I guess it must be because 2 is Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I don't think there's a 4th one yet.
Not yet. I'm sure we probably will get one.
I mean, I like Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
and I like that other guy that's like his friend Nacho. Or is his name Nacho? I just want to call every Mexican
incredibly racist.
Dude, I know, dude. It is so racist, but for some reason, it's just like if it's a side character and he's like a Hispanic dude, I'm just like, that's Nacho.
He must be named a fucking Mexican dish.
No, specifically Nacho, dude. Specifically Nacho.
Oh, so any and all Hispanic sidekicks are named Nacho.
Exactly. You got like Nacho Libre
and double down on it.
You got Nacho from Better Call Saul. You got Nacho from Scarface. I guess he's Cuban, but he's Latino or however you want to call it, Hispanic.
Everything south of Texas. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that's 3 nachos right there. Boom. In cinema.
I'm convinced that's true. Let alone in the world.
And how many movies I've seen all 3 of those films? Or well, I guess one's a TV show. I've seen all 3 of those, and how many other things have I seen? Not many. I've probably seen more MCU films than I've seen films in general. So, I mean, track record's looking pretty good. Sidekick Hispanic dude, his name's Nacho.
So, I have a question because I'm a little confused. I pulled up the numbers. Because we were talking about like Black Panther, the hype regarding that movie, and I thought that was one of the movies that grossed $1 billion.
Did it not?
Or earned $1 billion? But so here's my question. So this is a Box Office Mojo ranking thing, and it's just estimates. But none of these movies are over $1 billion, but it's gross. So would gross be like
gross is
your marketing and after like that's how much like the movie
so it's the
earned?
profit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it ranks number 3 on the list.
Yeah.
It was, number 1 being Endgame, which makes sense at 858
and number 2
million.
is Infinity War.
No, actually it ranks higher than that. No Way Home
that makes sense.
More than that. And then it's Black Panther and then Infinity War.
Yeah. So Black Panther was like, I mean, it was like almost like, dude. So I was working at the university when that film came out, and everybody, the people, like the people who I could hear talking, like, because we're in it's a library, right? So it's a big room, and the first floor is like a commons area, so you can like do your work or like have a group meeting or like whatever. There's like computers and stuff, and so there were no books. Like no one's reading on the first floor, right? That's where you check out the books. It's loud. There's a Starbucks there, which by the way, apparently that Starbucks in UNM was the first Starbucks in a college university library in the country. Not that that's relevant to anything, but they always like to fucking mention that. So I just figured I'd mention it for them. The library like to mention it, not Starbucks. So it was loud down there, right? But I could hear a ton of people, and it gets kind of boring when you're sitting at the desk waiting for people to bring a book up to check out. So I'd be eavesdropping to fucking everyone and anybody I could hear, and everybody was talking about fucking Black Panther, dude. All my coworkers were talking about, like, everyone was talking about it. I would come home and look at like Twitter, and it was just Black Panther.
That's true. I'm interested to see how I'm gonna rank it on this rewatch. This will be my 3rd time watching it. I did not like it the first 2 times I watched it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the second one is significantly better, and it kind of sucks because Michael B. Jordan's a great actor. Chadwick Boseman's a great actor. I just didn't like the fucking movie. I did really like the second one though.
Well, so did you like Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther? Like, did you like him as Black Panther?
Yes. Yeah. It's not it wasn't the characters at all. It was just
the CGI.
Yeah, the CGI really fucking took me out of it, especially because, I mean, obviously they didn't know how much money it was going to make, but at that point, that came out after Age of Ultron.
It was like 2019.
Yeah, did that come out?
Was it?
I have the fucking
I don't think
years.
it was.
So
it was 2017.
February 16th of 2018.
Okay,
so
2018.
when did Civil War come out?
Right before that, like right before it. Like it was the next movie after Black Panther was the next movie after Civil War.
There's no shot. There was like a 2-year fucking gap.
Huh?
Was it really that long? Yeah, Civil War came out in 2016, unless this fucking list is wrong. But this list says Civil War came out May 6th of 2016 and Black Panther was February 16th of 2018.
Are you? Because I swear it was Civil War and then Black Panther and then it was like Infinity War, like right after that.
So I think back then though, that might be accurate because I think back then they were like there was like a year or two in between some of these movies.
Did Spider-Man come out between them?
Yes.
Okay, so Homecoming came out in 2017. When did you say Civil War came out? 2017?
2016 is
what
what Box Office Mojo said. All right, so
so if that's the case, then Ant-Man 2 came out, right? Also,
so Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2.
Oh, Guardians 2. Okay, no, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. For
Spider-Man Homecoming.
For some reason in my mind, Civil War came out and then Black Panther came out like right after it, but that makes sense. Homecoming, Guardians, Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok,
and then Black Panther, and then Infinity War.
Okay, maybe it's how close Infinity War released to Black Panther that I just was like, oh, because when you look at how close Infinity War is to Black Panther, there's no way that Civil War would have come out that close.
Yeah.
Because I think Civil War was like the first movie after.
That's right.
After
Dude,
Ultron.
I forgot
Ant-Man was.
Yeah, Black Panther was just fucking 2 months before Infinity War.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and you got to remember, I wasn't really paying attention to the movies when they're coming out until Black Panther came out, and then that's when I went back and watched everything.
Just for example, we have 3, and this is like they like had started staggering them too, by the way. But we have 3 Marvel movies releasing this year alone, and we're only 5 months in. So you had Cap 4, you had Thunderbolts, and you have Fantastic Four, all within like 6 months into the year.
Is it really Cap 4 or is it Falcon 3? Falcon 2, really?
Counting the show as Falcon 1?
No, counting the second Cap as Falcon 1.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, technically that. That's crazy. All right. Anyways, fucking, we really derailed because this was supposed to be about the Odyssey.
Who gives a shit about that shit?
Hey, you watch your fucking mouth.
It's not like
Nolan.
Yeah, I know. It's not like we're both not gonna go see that.
Exactly.
Matt Damon.
It's true.
Matt Damon.
That movie's gonna be so stacked. I'm really fucking hyped about
Wait,
it. Especially though it's gonna be all in IMAX.
Is Matt Damon Odysseus in that?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I got worried it was going to be Tom Holland, and I was not excited for it for a minute. I mean, it's not true. I was still excited, but I was like very much so taken out of it because I was like, dude, Tom Holland's fucking like he's a great Spider-Man, but he's not Odysseus. Matt Damon definitely has me like back to 100% hype for that.
He's kind of old though. Is my only issue.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, what if they cast Will Poulter as him, as Odysseus?
Shut the fuck up. It's been a hot minute since I've read them, but the Iliad is the prequel to the Odyssey, right?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, and Odysseus is still technically in that, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so I think because in the Odyssey, he's like coming back and he is supposed to be older. So I think that makes sense. Will
And
Poulter could play him in fucking the Iliad if they end up adapting that.
in the he do kind of look like Matt Damon. I mean, like it could be a believable stretch to say that they are the same person. Is what I meant by
Yeah.
that. They don't actually look similar really at all, but
Yeah, but like in a stretch, it can make sense.
I think the Odyssey, that's when they land on that fucking island with the fucking witch lady that turns them into pigs or whatever.
She's like a is muse the right word?
Sure, dude.
The fucking singing bitch that like draws you into her.
That's a siren.
Siren, yeah. I think it's a siren, isn't it?
Maybe that's how they end up there. Cersei, it says Cersei the witch. She turns Odysseus's men into swine.
Shout out pigs.
True. Shout out spoilers.
True. What
Odysseus,
we don't even need
with
to
the
watch
help
the
of
movie
Hermes,
anymore.
tricks her and forces her to return their men to their original form, his men. It doesn't say anything about her being a siren or anything.
Oh, okay. Is there a siren at some point in that, dude?
There
I haven't read
probably
that since
is.
like middle school. So
That and I mix a lot of those Greek stories up because it was like all at the same time for me. Like I consumed all the Greek myths like concurrently. All right, moving on.
yeah, true. Moving on. We are getting a Rambo prequel movie,
Hell yeah.
which is interesting. So I had just heard about the prequel movie and I wanted to talk about it. And then I did some research into it. And I was going to say there's literally only one fucking angle you could take with a prequel movie because First Blood, if I remember correctly, literally is Rambo coming home from the Vietnam War. So
That's
for
what
it to
it
be a
is.
fucking prequel to that, it would literally have to be him in the Vietnam War, and that is exactly what it is. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Stallone's not currently attached, which is interesting. I mean, he's played Rambo obviously in all of the movies. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. They've all kind of pulled in about the same amount of money too, except for First Blood Part 2, which pulled in insane numbers. So First Blood was 47 million.
Okay.
First Blood 2 was 150 million. Rambo 3 is 53 million. Rambo is 42 million. And then Rambo Last Blood, 44 million. So they've all pretty much pulled in like 40 million around, except for First Blood Part 2 was 150 million. So that's kind of interesting. I'll probably watch it. I've seen all the others. Rambo 3 fucking sucked. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Is that the Afghanistan one?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that one.
That one was so bad.
Dude, let's be fair though. Without Rambo 3, Katniss Everdeen would never be shooting planes out of the sky, okay?
That's fucking fair.
Let's just temper our expectations here, okay? If Rambo can shoot a helicopter down with a fucking bow and arrow, then Katniss Everdeen can shoot down a fucking Mach 5 jet with a bow.
That's true. That's fair. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Have you seen all of them or just
The first
like
4.
1 and 3?
I've seen the first 4, yeah.
Okay, so you just haven't seen Last Blood. Last Blood's forgettable.
Hell yeah. I might have, honestly, I may have seen it and I just forgot. So Rambo 4 is where he like takes some tourists or some shit back to fucking some jungle.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Vietnam per se, but he's like back in a jungle somewhere, and yeah, he's doing like boat tour rides.
Yeah. Okay. So
it was,
and then
interesting.
Rambo 2 is where he actually goes back to Vietnam to like save the POWs or something, right?
Yeah. And then Rambo 3's in fucking Afghanistan fighting Russians.
You shout out Russians. All I remember is they fall in a hole and he's like throwing glow sticks everywhere, and then they're like, fighting on the fucking, like, after they climb out of the hole or whatever, and he fucking burns it. He cauterizes a wound with gunpowder.
Yeah.
And then he shoots a helicopter down with a fucking bow and arrow.
I've watched Last Blood, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even remember exactly what the fuck's going on. It takes place in America. I know that. Or mostly in America. He steps foot in America at least.
Honestly, I think the only ones worth watching are the first two.
Yeah, 100%.
Having watched the first four, I think you should, if you haven't seen any of them and you want to watch any of the Rambo films, just watch the first two.
That's honestly fucking fair. Yeah, okay. Last Blood, he it's raising horses on a ranch in Arizona.
Hell yeah.
And then a Mexican cartel kidnaps Gabriella. Okay, that's what I was thinking. And so he has to cross the border. Okay. So yeah, it takes place in Arizona and also Mexico.
Didn't Arnold Schwarzenegger do a movie in some border town against the cartel around that same time?
Oh, yeah. What the fuck is it? It's like, what is that called? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it might be called The Last Stand or something.
Yeah, he's like a, that sounds right.
I have not watched it, but
he's like a sheriff or some shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I Googled his name and the first result is, people also ask, is Arnold Schwarzenegger LGBT friendly?
Yep.
Why is that a question people are asking?
Why not?
I mean, I guess if you want to know, but like, how many people have to search that? I guess probably because he was the governor of California is probably, I assume, why they would be Googling that.
The governor.
Yeah, the governor.
I don't think his fucking Wikipedia article is fucking up to date. That's stupid. I just Googled it, hoping to find it, and I did not find it. I know what you're talking about.
Hell yeah. He plays himself in Family Guy, the Quest for Stuff video game.
As he should.
Do you know how many people are playing themselves in a Family Guy video game?
At least a couple.
Yeah, hold on, pause. I just had a thought. Has Mila Kunis ever been like on Family Guy? Like, Mila Kunis is a character in Family Guy?
I don't know. Am I being fucking gaslit right now? We're both remembering the same movie, and it's definitely come out since 2017, and I'm not seeing it.
Are we sure it's come out since 2017? But maybe. I was thinking it was maybe. Well, so his IMDb page doesn't look like it's fucking updated either. Unless it wasn't. Dude, imagine it's not Arnold and it's someone else. Is there someone else who fits that?
No, it has to be Arnold, dude, because you said it, and I can picture the fucking like title card of the movie. It's like an up close of him, and you can see like a cop car in the background, and he has like a cop outfit on.
Yeah, he's like a sheriff in a small town like New Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Something like that.
Perfect. Dude, you think it like did bad and he just buried it? He just removed it from the Last Stand. I found it. It's called The Last Stand.
Okay. So it is called that.
Johnny Knoxville? Hold on. Is this even the fucking movie? Hold on. This might not even be the movie. Oh, it is. It came out in
2013. Damn. Okay. So it was a lot older than I thought.
Have you
that
seen...
must have just recently got added to some fucking streaming platform.
Have you seen this other film with Johnny Knoxville in it? We're getting so off the rails right now. Have you seen this other movie with Johnny Knoxville? I think it's Johnny Knoxville, and I want to say it's Jackie Chan.
That sounds odd. No, I have not.
And they're like in China. Hold on. I'm looking for. I'm looking for it. I don't see it. Oh, okay. Here's actor previous.
That sounds fucking insane.
Dude, it was kind of insane. Dude, I am not seeing it anywhere.
He was on WWE SmackDown in 2022.
Hell yeah. Oh, Skip Trace. It's called Skip Trace. Yeah, Jackie Chan and Johnny Knoxville.
What the fuck? A detective from Hong Kong teams up with an American gambler to battle against a notorious Chinese criminal. Yeah. It's a buddy cop movie where one's a cop and one's a fucking gambler.
Well, not only that, but I don't remember anything about that movie except for at some point they're like in a field with some goats or some shit. Dude, the things I remember. So now that I see that it's called Skip Trace, I should have known that because I have it. It's right. Well, it's over there somewhere.
I've never even heard of this movie. It's funny though. Why not get fucking Chris Tucker for that movie?
Because they already had Chris Tucker a couple of times, you know? Dude, well, so the first Rush Hour, Jackie says the N-word. I think it's the first Rush Hour. Maybe it's the second one.
Fun facts with Rock Keith.
Yeah, because Chris Tucker walks in and he's like, yo, what up, my... And then he goes in the back and he's talking to someone, and then Jackie Chan is like in the bar and he's just standing there, and there's a black bartender just like, you know, typical bartender activities. He's like cleaning a glass because that's what bartenders do, I guess. And Jackie's just trying to make small talk, and so he's like, what's up, ma? And then they all start trying to kick his ass because he's racist apparently, but he just has no fucking idea what's going on, and he's like, I don't know why they're fighting me.
That's dude. I haven't seen that movie in so many years. I did not remember that being a thing. Dude, that's crazy.
Well, so like back in the day, back in my day,
1998. Yeah,
back in my day, saying that word wasn't really all that offensive. But now it's like you don't say that at all ever under any circumstances. So I don't know. It's fun facts.
Yeah, they definitely would not get away with doing that nowadays. Not to get
I almost think it would be funnier nowadays. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it's just you.
Oh no.
But yeah, Rambo, I'm hyped for it.
Well, who
ish? If it ends up being good.
Well, hold on. Is there a cast at all for that yet?
I don't think there's a director. I think that's about it. And it's the director that did like Sisu, which was a really fucking good World War II action movie. So, you know what? That just kind of gave me a fucking epiphany. So in Sisu, the main character,
the pickaxe guy,
yeah, he might only say like 2 or 3 words that entire movie. And Rambo strikes me as very much so as a man of few words.
He is, well, he was in the first one anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I bet that's why they got him. They're like, hey, who's good at doing a good action movie where the main character is displaying emotion through body language and violence? And they're like, I know, the director behind Sisu.
No, they're probably like, well, who's our choices? We can't get Quentin because all his movies are just dialogue.
True.
And that leaves that guy, the Sisu guy.
Exactly. It could be good. I liked Sisu. Did you watch that?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't watch movies, remember?
No.
I've seen some weird, like off the wall, like out there movies, but
yeah, like fucking
Skip Trace,
Splitgate or whatever the fuck.
Skip Trace. Yeah, I own it. It's right. I want to say it's like right in here.
Brother, stop pointing to it. I can't see that.
Do you want me to go get it?
No. Actually, yeah, kinda.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I hope it's not even there. Get a load of this guy, fucking pussy. Anyways, guys, Red Bull sponsor us because I drink you, and I also have a Red Bull fridge.
I don't have ears in. I can't hear you. Save your comments, grasshopper.
It's okay. I was doing my Red Bull pitch.
Here we go. Hello. There we go. Skip Trace. Boom. Johnny
Knoxville.
Knoxville.
Doesn't look like Jackie Chan.
He's old, dude. He's like 60
When did that come
something. Out? This came out in 2013 or something.
Dude, he is getting old.
What the fuck? I just saw it.
He's also a jackass. Did you hear about what happened with him and his son?
2017, apparently. 2016, sorry. Him and his son? No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
Where he like disowned that kid or whatever because why again?
I don't. Was it just disowning him? I thought it was something else. I thought he like gave up his son to the fucking. Does China have a president? What do they have? He's basically a dictator, isn't he?
They have a chairman.
A chairman? Hell yeah! I want to be the chairman of a fucking country.
Yeah, it's I for as into politics as I am, you would think I would know all the fucking buzzwords, but it's essentially he's a dictator. Adios, our fucking social credits. The chairman is technically elected by a committee of sorts, so he's not elected by like voting by the people. And I feel, I don't know. Let's look it up. How does a chairman get elected? Yeah, how does chairman go die? Okay, good one.
Why use law word when few word do trick?
Yeah, who appoints a chairman of the board? Typically elected or appointed by members of the board of directors or shareholders. This is in a company. A chair is the person holding the office. Typically okay, that's same thing. A chairperson. Okay, maybe I need to filter this to politics. Most major political parties elect their chairman by a vote of all the party's members. That's in Belgium. In China, the leader of the Chinese Communist Party was chairman of the Chinese Communist Party. The post chairman was abolished in 1982. Oh, my bad. And most of his functions were transferred to the revived post of general secretary. Okay, so what is Xi Jinping is the general? Okay. Here's his whole title. General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party.
Shout out communism. That is a crazy fucking title.
Well, okay, so it says the Chinese Communist Party, which is the sole ruling party of the People's Republic of China since '89. The CCP General Secretary has been the paramount leader of the PRC, meaning the People's Republic of China. Okay, so I guess I always think chairman because Chairman Mao, but I never hear like Xi Jinping's position or title.
Mao Zedong.
Yeah, I never hear Xi Jinping's title or whatever. So like you would say like President Donald Trump or something. A lot of people just say Donald Trump. That's how I always hear it. So I guess I didn't know that they got rid of the chair. Anyways, he's a general secretary. I don't know what that.
I don't know either.
Secretary is one of those words too that like you hear it and you're like, oh, in a corporation, a secretary is a fucking the guy who gets coffee and answers the phones. But a secretary could also be the person who takes notes while like important conversations are happening. So I don't know. But corporate terms and political terms, while they share the same name, often mean very different things.
Dude, I don't remember what I initially read, or if I'm like skipping over it.
But daughter.
I thought it was about his son. I thought I remember seeing he specifically disowned his son or like gave up his son or something like that. Oh, you know what? No, I think I'm fucking mixing up stories. So his son got caught fucking smoking a marijuana and got arrested, and fucking Jackie Chan's been like a spokesperson for like basically China's version of Dare.
Hell
and so
yeah.
it was like a big slap in the face to that image. So what I think it actually was though, I think Jackie Chan just openly supports fucking general dictator chairman of China. I think that's what it is. And so I was like, damn, shout out communism.
Well, okay, so I'm reading another thing about his daughter that he had with
from the affair or whatever.
Yeah. And I guess this was 7 years ago. She was homeless and he was like, I don't give a fuck. figure it out.
Yeah. Why the fuck did Kim? Okay, dude.
Well, who? Kim Jong Un?
Yeah, I tried looking up like what I was saying, and it was like, does Jackie Chan support Kim Jong Un? It's not what I typed, brother. Anyways,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, so something else I read said that he isn't leaving his kids any of his fortune. He's gonna donate it all to charity.
I mean, I have read that. I think that's fair. That's fine. There's no reason.
His money. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with it. That's fair.
Exactly. And I mean, if you pull yourself up from your fucking own bootstraps, I mean, it sounds like he doesn't even fucking like his kids in the first place. But
yeah,
you know.
I wonder if he likes Chris Tucker. Maybe he should leave his money to Chris Tucker. I think he needs it.
True. Where'd that kid's acting career go?
Same place my hairline went. Down the drain. So, Hideo Kojima has stated he has a USB stick full of the rest of his ideas for games that he wants to be used in the event of his passing. So he gave it to his assistant, his personal assistant, might I add. So basically, he got COVID. Like he's in his 60s, which is kind of crazy. Which I mean, it makes sense, but he thought he was healthy. Then he got COVID. And like he was seeing people like die and like just get really sick around him.
Oh yeah.
And then he like, it doesn't state what happened, but he suffered like other stuff after COVID as well. And so I think it gave him the big spook. And so that's what's like pushed him to fucking like doing different styles of games too, because like all the Metal Gear Solids are all pretty similar. And then outside of that, I don't think he himself has really done a whole lot.
It's just Death
and then you have Death Stranding, which is like a pretty different game. And then he has like,
it's pretty similar. It just has more walking involved.
Is it pretty similar? Like what are the? I mean, I haven't played Death Stranding, and I've played almost all the Metal Gear Solids. So is it like there's guns involved and it's weird because it's Kojima?
Yeah, kind of.
What I've seen of Death Stranding, it looks fucking crazier.
Keep in mind,
yeah, like you're a delivery guy.
I haven't even. I essentially haven't played the game at all.
Be careful with your words.
So I watched the first 8 hours of cutscenes though. I did do. You said you haven't played it at all.
I want to at some point.
Okay, well, so there's a bunch of weird like supernatural shit in that game. In case you didn't know, you could just watch the trailer and then you'll know. There's actually a fucking weird ass trailer where there's a fucking baby sliding around in a fucking meat tube.
Ew.
Don't
I remember that trailer.
Yeah, I don't recommend watching that one. But like, I don't know. It's like how do you even explain this? He makes gameplay out of things that you wouldn't think would be gameplay. Like in like the Metal Gear games, there's like things that you can do, like in all of them basically, where you can do something that affects like the game.
Yeah.
That's like it's very like mold breaking, and like I wouldn't say it's revolutionary because like no one copied it, but like it's like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Like in the first Metal Gear Solid, when you're in the Psycho Mantis fight, he would like read your memory card and tell you what games you played and like the date.
Back in the that was a PS2 game. Yeah. It
was a PS1
back in the fucking
game.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah, back in the PS1 era. That is such a like, we don't even have shit that does stuff like that right now in 2025.
Okay, and so then Metal Gear Solid 2 came out. That's a PS2 game, and it had the similar shit. You'd be fighting I don't even remember who it was. Who the fuck was that? Oh, you were fighting nobody. I mean, it was towards the end of the game, and because the whole thing is a simulation, and they're trying to make Raiden, who's a cyborg, into Solid Snake. The simulation starts coming down because Solid Snake shows up in the simulation because he's not supposed to be there. And so like the things that are happening are actually happening, but it's like simulated, and like your codec starts glitching out, and like the kernel starts like saying like crazy fucking shit. And then there's a part where it's like, hey, what does it say? It's like it like tells you to turn the game off or something or whatever. Which yeah. if you turn it off, like you just turned off the game without saving and you have to redo the part. But then there's like another part where it's like it gives you the end game screen, like you died.
Yeah.
But you're still alive. That's when you're on the elevator. Going up to fight Ray or whatever, or after you fight Ray, I don't remember.
Then there's the fight with the end in 3.
Well,
where...
so there's a lot of things in 3. There's the fear. He burns through stamina really quick, so you can put some poison food down, and he'll come down and eat the poison food and fucking. I don't remember if he just straight up dies or what, but I'm pretty sure I've killed him by feeding him poison food.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so you can get a bunch of poisonous animals and put them in the area, and he'll come down and eat them and fucking get sick.
Which one was the fear? The fucking invisible tree guy?
Yeah, the tree guy that fucking like bent his arms backward like a fucking spider. Right. Which, yeah, talk about supernatural. And then so yeah, and then there's the end where if you could, there were two. I mean, the one thing is like you could save in the fight and then just wait a couple weeks and then get back on, and he will die of old age because that much time has passed. Real time, not in game time.
That or you
time.
could like put your that or you could put your fucking put the date forward or whatever.
Oh yeah, you could do that too, but just like the fact that he dies from real lifetime, like how many people would have found that by accident where they're like they save the game right there and then they don't play for like a week and they come back and they get on and then he's like and dies as soon as they get back on. They're probably like, what the fuck? He just dies?
Yeah, I actually killed him myself, so that because I played on PC. I was gonna say how like so you would like get back on the game, load your save, and then like what is like a cutscene play, or like you just hear him like scream out or something?
Yeah, he just like dies. Like there's a little cutscene of him just like keeling over and dying, and then it's like
that's funny.
You get like a codec call, and I think in the codec call, Otacon or whoever this is the fucking Otacon in that game,
explains it. Okay,
is like, have you played 3 recently? Yeah. Okay, I think it's Signet. And he's like, hey, what the fuck? I guess he died old age or something. But then like so in 4, you haven't played 4, but in 4 there's this part.
Yeah, 4 is the only one I haven't played.
There's this part where you go back to Shadow Moses, which is the location of the first game. In 4, and you go back and you go to this door, and it's Otacon calls you and he's like, Snake. And I guess that sounded more like Snake than Otacon. And he's like, hey, put in the second disc. And Snake is like, huh? And then Otacon's like, oh, that's right. We're using a Blu-ray disc, not an HD DVD. And it's just like, what the fuck? They're throwing shade at the fucking other media fucking what do you call that? Physical media format.
Yeah,
because at the time Blu-rays could be triple layered and each layer could hold 50 gigs of information. So it was like a stab because an HD DVD could only hold like, I think only 50 gigs by itself.
Yeah, dude. What were some of the last 360 games? How many discs were they? Like, how many discs was GTA 5? 3? There was some game. There was some game.
2.
I'm pretty sure that was 3 discs. It might not have been GTA 5. It might have been something else.
But that's one of those things that like it was on PS3, and you get to the thing, and he's like, Snake, put in the second disc, and then it waits a couple seconds, and it's like, what do you mean? There's only one disc? And then it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. That's because we're using a Blu-ray, which by the way, Blu-ray is proprietary to Sony. And that game was a Sony exclusive game, so it was kind of like, haha, nudge nudge, wink wink, we're sticking to the man. So I don't know. Kojima's always doing like,
oh, shit.
I wouldn't necessarily say that those are all necessary. Huh? How many times are you gonna say necessary? I wouldn't say those are all play, like play, not play styles, but it's not like gameplay. All of the not all of those are gameplay, but like there's elements to them that is like changes the gameplay. So like Death Stranding is a lot like that, and it's kind of like when you're moving around, like it's still like kind of a stealth game. Like you can be unstealthy if you really wanted to, but you're probably just gonna fucking die because other dudes have guns, and for the most part you have like a baton. You can get guns, you can take their shit, I'm pretty sure, but it's like until you take their stuff you're kind of unarmed.
Yeah.
But so it is kind of like stealthy, but you have the backpack thing and you can stack it up however, and you can reorganize how the backpack, like it's a backpack that like magnetically or I don't know, magically holds a bunch of boxes, but like it has physics. So like if it's too tall, you'll be like, whoa, and fucking wibble wobbling around. And if it's like real heavy, you have to walk slow and stuff. And like it's almost like you have to take each step yourself. Like he gave the controller a feeling where you feel like you're actually walking through this like barren wasteland by yourself. Like it feels like you're the one walking and trying to like balance all the shit because you have to be like moving the step. There's like all kinds of like he made a gameplay out of walking and carrying things. Like it's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, you're literally a mailman.
Exactly. I think most men are males, but that's neither here nor there. It was probably not a great joke.
It wasn't.
No, I'm sorry. Anyways, that's
that is that.
Harvard.
That's such a Kojima thing. Like he would have his final will, if you will, of like game ideas. Essentially, he's worried about his legacy. So like he wants what's the studio called? Kojima Productions? Yeah.
Something like that.
Kojima Productions to live on.
I mean that's noble, I guess, but like to be fair, he could die right now and his legacy is fine. Like I don't think anyone, like he's the guy,
us, not to him.
Well, not
he wants,
not to him, but he's the I'm trying to live long enough to be the villain type guy.
Imagine he's just fucking solid as snake.
Yeah.
All along. So I thought this was kind of funny. So something else I wrote down. So he's been working with like Guillermo del Toro and Nicholas Winding Refn, who are both in, I have no idea, who are both in Death Stranding. Apparently he consulted with them because he's considered directing a film, and evidently both of them were like, no, you should stick with games. And I'm sure they didn't mean it as like a slap in the face, but when I was reading shit, that's the way I took that. I was like, that's kind of funny. Like imagine he like reached out to his director buddies.
Well,
and
so
like,
here's the thing. I think so. Del Toro has experience writing. I actually have the strain up here somewhere, which was a book first before it was a TV show. Did he make the Strain trilogy into a TV show or movie or whatever? I don't even know if it's a trilogy. I think it was maybe just 2 books. Anyways, he wrote a book, and then I think he had TV, but he does film also.
Yeah.
And so I think he has seen like the games, and he knows that you can't put Kojima's storytelling into a film and have it like the
be
way
coherent.
It could be coherent. I don't think anyone wants to sit down for a 16-hour movie is what I'm trying to say.
That's fair.
So Kojima's storytelling is best done through a video game, especially because the way he makes it so interactive. Like in so many of the cutscenes, there's like things you can do, or like there's details you can catch. And sometimes when you catch those details, you're missing other details, which means you have to replay the game, or at least that part over and over, until you catch all of it. And so it adds replayability to the games. And I don't think that's like necessarily something you can do with cinema so well. I don't know. He could do books though. He could write books.
Okay, so I didn't realize who Nicholas Winding Refn is.
Okay.
He is the director of Neon Demon, Drive, Bronson, Only God Forgives. He's actually a pretty solid director. Drive is a really fucking good movie. I'd put off watching that for a really long time. So Ryan Gosling is the main character, who's literally just named Driver.
Oh, yeah.
And basically he's a Hollywood stuntman who moonlights as a fucking getaway driver. And anyways, that's a really good movie. I did not realize that's who that is. So that's kind of funny. So evidently I knew Guillermo del Toro was, but evidently both of them are in Death Stranding. So that's interesting. Yeah, both of them were like, no, stick with games.
Perfect. Also, I looked it up. The Strain is a trilogy. There were 3 books.
Slammed.
True.
Last topic. Also, I meant to fucking open this episode with stating that we were going to start doing shorter episodes, and I forgot. So here is your warning. These episodes are no longer going to be 3 hours long, most likely.
No, we're gonna aim for
we're gonna aim for an hour plus, like an hour to at most 2 hours. I think right now we're sitting at a decent time. So last topic, marathon's gonna crumble, most likely.
You're true. All right, so we'll start off by, I wanted to say I was a little wrong about the lawsuit. We had talked about this, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah.
We talked about this in a previous episode is what I'm trying to say. And I talked about the Red War lawsuit with Marathon, which I thought had been about them getting sued about content not being in the game, because I had read something that said specifically that it was like a class action lawsuit of people suing them because they can't play content that's in the game. And I don't actually know if that's even true anymore. I couldn't even find that article again. But the Red War lawsuit is actually about an accusation against Bungie for plagiarizing works of an author. I don't have the author's name. I probably should have pulled that up somewhere. This article doesn't say.
Arthur MacArthur.
Yeah. Matthew Kelsey Martineau. Martineau? I don't know how to say that. And so the allegation, I should say, is that they plagiarized this individual's work in the Red War campaign, and one of the expansions called something Osiris, right? Curse of Osiris. There's been a couple Osiris expansions, so I forget. But so that's what the lawsuit was about previously, is that they were getting sued for copyright infringement, and they were trying to get the case dismissed because they were trying to use third-party YouTube videos and wiki articles about their game and like lore of their game, and they were trying to cite that as evidence that their game was completely different from this individual's work. However, the judge threw it out because he's like, those are third-party sources, and they could have written anything in those things or said anything in those videos. Like, we need to see the actual evidence, and Bungie is unable to provide the evidence because for some reason they sunset it, which means they put it in a closet so that we'd never see it again. And normally when you put something in the closet, you put a label on it, and if you need to get it back out of the closet, you go into your closet and pull it out. Except they put it in the closet and then trash compacted the fucking closet.
Why would those fucking idiots, like, they could have just so easily just restricted access, like just fucking put it, like just hide it essentially from players, but they fucking deleted it from everything. Like,
dude,
they don't even have access to it anymore.
I was trying to think of it. This is unrelated, but it is related. I was just trying to think, like, oh, we're using a closet metaphor. Like, a closet. It's like an addition, but reverse. I was like, what's that? A minus addition? And I was like, what the fuck is the opposite of addition? I was like, oh, subtraction.
Oh,
So,
subtraction.
Yeah, I don't know why. That was just stupid. And I thought I would share that I'm dumb.
His brain rot.
Exactly. So anyways, they might be in hot water for that. And then they are currently in hot water for Marathon. Bungie is, for plagiarizing an artist's artwork. They didn't recreate the artwork. They didn't ask the artist for permission about the artwork. They didn't pay this artist. They didn't reference this artist anywhere. They just straight up stole this artist's work and put it in the game, which is not the first time they've done this. In fact, it's like the third or fourth time they've done this.
Yep.
They've stolen artwork in several other Destiny 2 things. So the first thing is if they stole something, if they stole the written work and the storytelling elements of, like, if they just adapted this other person's work into their story for the Red War and Curse of Osiris, and stole that, that's one thing. But I would assume that the storytelling department's a different department than the art department, right? Because it's a big company.
You would assume, yeah.
But if they've stolen several times in the art department, I want to know, was it the same artist stealing? Because I saw someone saying that it was different people every time stealing different artwork. One of which was a fan render of a character in Destiny, which was then made into promotional material, I believe, or they used it in a cutscene, which I don't know. If it's the same, maybe it's different artists, or maybe it's the art director and he's scapegoating his employees, which I haven't seen anyone come out and say that they got scapegoated. So maybe there's just artists who are like, hey, I'm gonna just steal this and hope no one finds out. Anyways, Marathon is in hot water. They were supposed to have a whole game demonstration yesterday, the day before. And instead of having any sort of thing, they had to change their live stream to apologizing, which seemed like a PR stunt for the most part. And everyone was posting plagiarism will make me God in their chat during the live stream. And if you go,
he had the most look of despair.
Dude, he looked so sad. It looked like a funeral. They're like trying to hype the game up and they're talking about it, but they're talking about the game and they can't show anything because that artist's artwork is everywhere and they're not sure what belongs to that artist. They're not sure what is their own in-house art and they're not sure what belongs to someone that they haven't paid. And they said, hey, we're not sure if there's any other assets in the game that are stolen. We don't know. We need to go through.
Show anything.
Yeah, we need to go through and vet the entire department for every piece of art and make sure that we have the source for every single solitary thing. Because I mean, they don't want to get caught with their pants down for a fifth time or whatever. I also would like to mention that it's funny that if you go to the Marathon Discord, there's a lot of people who have renamed themselves to things like, here's a guy named Plagiarism will buy me cars, which that's like a double edged thing. Do you know about that?
No.
Oh, okay. So the Bungie CEO, right after Sony acquired Bungie, the Bungie CEO, Pete Parsons is his name. He I think it was right after Sony acquired them, but he laid off. Okay, so this was 10 months ago, so probably around that time, I think. He laid off, well, Bungie laid off a bunch of people, like a ton of people, like something like 190 people or something like that, right? And they laid off a bunch of people, and he cut himself a fat ass bonus check and went and bought cars.
That is so fucking rude.
Dude,
Honestly, they deserve everything coming towards them.
Dude, he went and bought some fucking cars. So it's funny that guy's name is Plagiarism Will Buy Me Cars, because one, he's calling attention to the fact that the CEO is a fucking douchebag, but he's also calling attention to the fact that they're just straight up plagiarizing and stealing shit. Honestly, it's a goated username. I'm not gonna lie. But if you just scroll through their thing, there's a whole bunch of people who have silly names. Okay, it's not even just that guy. I just found another different guy who just joined the Discord, and his name is also Plagiarism Will Buy Me Cars. So like that's like just a thing. Like they're just getting rolled. They're getting rolled in their Discord. They're getting rolled on Twitch. Like they're getting rolled on Twitter. Like it's not a good look. This game is not going anywhere. Asmongold had a poll during he was streaming their stream, and he put a poll up during it, and his poll was, we should vote on the new name for Marathon, and the first option that you could pick was Art Raiders, because Marathon is a worse Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they steal art. And the other one was Concord 2.
Holy shit,
And
brother.
for those of you who don't know, Concord was a multiplayer only game that released earlier this year and has already been shut down completely. I think it was live for 19 days or something like that. Their servers were live for 19 days, and I think a total of not like 1,800 unique players played the game. Like the numbers are real bad. Like they're real bad. They are terrible numbers. I don't know. Those are about the numbers. Those might not be accurate, but that's what I seem to remember is about that. And so,
oh brother, yeah, that's crazy. August 23rd, it was officially released on PS5 and Windows.
Okay.
September 3rd, Sony announced the decision to cease sales and take the game offline. And
Perfect.
September 6th, they were shut down.
Great.
So from August 23rd of 2024 to September 6th of 2024, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, it was not, they did not do great. That's literally 19 days, isn't it? Because there's 31 in August, right?
That sounds about right. Honestly, I don't keep up with that.
I don't actually know. Maybe it's not. But the 9 doesn't make sense in there, actually. Maybe it's like 17 days. I don't know. Math. I'm not good at math. That's actually why
there's 31 days in August.
Okay, but that didn't do the math for me.
That is Spain.
So that's what, 8 days? 8 days in August and then 6 days in September? That's 14 days. 2 weeks. It was up for 2 weeks.
It was literally 2 weeks.
It was live for 2 weeks. What the fuck, dude? Holy
that might be
shit.
the biggest game flop
Ever. Literally ever.
Yeah.
Literally ever. Yeah. So it was just funny that, by the way, Art Raiders is what won the poll. If you were wondering, you don't have to go find an Asmongold's VOD or anything. I'll just let you know. I'll spoil it for you right here.
Thank you. Doing the Lord's work.
Bungie has split from Microsoft because they had creative differences, and Bungie wanted more control over their work. And then they went to Activision, not immediately, but after a little while after that, because they needed funding. And Activision taught them every scummy way in the fucking book on how to milk their players for money and engagement. Now, they're not necessarily making a fun game, and they've actually come out. Bungie devs have come out and said, we don't know. I think it was Bungie devs. Actually, it might have been Ubisoft devs that said this. Anyway, someone said, we don't know if the metrics for engagement mean the game is good or that it's fun, but we know what makes the game more engaging and gets player engagement up. And that's all we care about is player engagement up. And that only works for so long, because if your engagement is up, but your game isn't fun, it falls off really hard. And so, I don't know. Anyways, Activision taught them every way to milk their players, from microtransactions to loot crates to fucking everything. Not all of those things are in Destiny currently, but like they have an expansion every year. I mean, it's a live service game, and the live service model is you need a battle pass, you need an event pass, you need microtransactions, you need cosmetics on the store, you need a rotating store, you need currency. So it's like kind of overwhelming for a new player, honestly, to because the investment to even get into Destiny 2 is right now is ridiculous. And so the fact that Marathon is not going to be free to play, it's going to cost money, and they are already dealing with things like huge backlash from them stealing art for the 5th time or whatever. I don't know. I went back and I was watching some videos of streamers who had posted video, like there's footage of Marathon out there. You can go on YouTube and find it. I was looking at some of the footage, and the game actually does not look very good. It looks really Schedule 1-y. Like Schedule 1 is a game developed by a single person, and there's like textures in Marathon that are just like a flat color. Like it's grass, it's a flat color. There's no like blades of grass or anything. It's just a flat green color.
In that test, that was just an alpha, wasn't it?
Yeah, Arc Raiders was also an alpha though, and did you see what that looked like?
If it was a true to form, so that term gets thrown around very loosely. If it was a true to form actual alpha, they very much so could touch it up and make it look better. Not saying they're definitely going to.
Right. When is Arc Raiders coming out?
I have no idea.
When is Marathon coming out?
I have no idea.
Because I think Arc Raiders is probably gonna shit on them. Arc Raiders has a release window of sometime this year. Okay. And it's gonna be late this year probably. People are saying maybe September.
It's the same thing as Marathon, because Marathon's set for September 23rd.
And so they both had their alphas were the same week. Okay. You should look up some pictures of Arc Raiders real quick. I might even put some on the screen real quick, just so we can look at what it looked like.
Oh, Arc Raiders was that game with the crazy ass AI. Yeah, that does look kind of cool.
Oh, I don't want to say
it definitely looks better than Marathon.
Oh, it looks so much better than a Marathon. And they're like the same like genre.
Premise. It's an extraction adventure or whatever.
Yeah, but Arc Raiders is made by the people who made the finals. I'm trying to think of who the hell those guys are called. Embark
Studios. Yeah.
And
are they not working on the finals anymore then?
So they said, well, they haven't been working on the finals for a while. They said, well, so they have like seasons and content planned sort of, but they haven't really been really working on the finals for like a year at least. Here, whoa, what the fuck? Let me move this over here real quick, and then let me flick this on. So here's like some, I mean, this is art, right? It's supposed to look good. This photo's in the wrong corner, but whatever. Like this game looks like pretty good. And then that's Arc Raiders, right? And then let's look at some stuff from Marathon. Like I don't know. So I've heard a couple things that people have had to say about Marathon, and one of them is that they there's too much blue, and it's like a color theory thing. There's too much blue in Marathon, and it's makes it difficult to play for long periods of time or to look at. So like, I mean, like it's got like crisp edges and stuff, but like it's very flat. Like there's not a lot of detail going on. Like there's not a lot of texture here. Like even here is kind of textured, or like there is texture here. Like you could probably tell what that feels like on your tongue, but like I don't know. That was a thing I heard once. If you look at any surface, you can tell what it feels like to lick it. Like I don't know. Like it's like plasticky almost, yes, but like I don't know. It's not great. Here's some of the stolen artwork, by the way. This stuff right here. I'll just zoom in a little bit. like this like text and stuff and like all these little like glitch numbers and stuff, that's part of the stolen artwork, and so they have to go through everything. I'm gonna be honest, Marathon's an old IP, right? It's not a new IP at all.
No, it's from the 90s.
Yeah, and so they're trying to at some in some capacity to throw back to the way the old game looks, which is like 8-bit and retro and all that. And I think that's a fucking throw. I think they're stupid for doing that. Especially now that we know that all their fucking art is stolen. Not all of it, but like, you know, they've got stolen art plastered everywhere on there's like
more than enough. Yeah.
And the fact that they're going for that like retro vibe, like I don't think that's it. Like some of the UI, like menus and shit, looks like it's on fucking Game Boy. And I don't mind playing things like Stardew Valley, which is pixels, right?
Yeah.
It's like that style. But when your game looks like almost hyper realistic ish, or at least more realistic than like, it's not cell shaded, it's not like, it's going for realism, right? But for the most part, like it's aliens and robots and shit, like it's sci-fi, so it looks kind of crazy to some extent. But like they're trying to make it look more real than cartoony or like whatever. And then you have this weird UI that's like janky and pixely, like I don't know, it's like immersion breaking almost. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah. I like the art style of Marathon. It's unique. You know, in a world of extraction shooters like Tarkov or Gray Zone, which are like realistic, militaristic.
Right. And to that note, even Arc Raiders looks like that.
Yeah, that's true. Arc Raiders is third person, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, Marathon's first person. I mean, I prefer third person personally.
For that kind of game, totally. Like PUBG. Well, I don't know. First person's fine, but like 3-peaking is OP.
Yeah, it adds a whole nother layer to the game. Or a whole nother layer to strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was super hyped for Marathon. Other than like GTA 6, I thought that was going to be like maybe like the next big game that I play for a really long time. And
well, I think all three of us did think that.
Yeah,
we're including Daniel in that.
I think Bungo completely fucking screwed the pooch on that one. So,
well, and it's not even like they just screwed the pooch. They screwed the pooch who knows how long ago. And we're just finding out about it, essentially.
So, you know, real quick, and then we can end the episode on this note.
Yeah.
So something that came to my mind, obviously the process of sunsetting is not new.
Right.
Not even with just Bungie. Like that's been a process that many companies have used with you know, like their content.
Yeah.
But since they just so happened to sunset some content that was allegedly stolen, what if they've been doing that for a really long time? Because like the Red War shit was at the beginning of Destiny 2's campaign, and like this whole shit's just coming to light. So, I mean, you're talking years. So, what have they been stealing shit for a while, and they just sunset it in time for it to not like get to the original artist's attention?
Well, so here's the thing. I mean, that's possible. But you have to remember, like, the Bungie we have right now is not the Bungie that made Halo.
No, not at all.
And Destiny 1, they didn't ever sunset anything. They retired guns and stuff, like they took them out of the rotation or out of the loot pool. But that wasn't necessarily like they would just replace it with a reskin of something else. So like in that regard, perhaps maybe there was something in there that they're like, hey, that's stolen, just get rid of it. And maybe that's what they've been doing. But I don't know. That's like one of those things. Cause like you said, sunsetting's not new. Like people like Pepsi Like, where's Crystal Pepsi? You can't buy that anymore. It's sunset. It's no longer being produced. But when it comes to something that's like media, you know, it's not necessarily something that you can take off the shelf. Essentially, like, you can sort of, I mean, you can take the actual product off the shelf, but like, you have to patch the actual, you know, the media. Like, if you have an unpatched version of it somewhere, which you can't because of the way they coded it to be online always, it really does make you wonder. My question is, and this is an interesting thing, because they had the Red War planned before Destiny 1 came out, because they had 10 years. That was their whole thing. They were going to do Destiny for 10 years. It was going to be a 10-year live service thing. And they told us before even the first game came out that they had all 10 years lined up, content ready to go. They tweaked some things and changed some things and changed release dates and moved some things around and changed what order things are and changed some parts of the story. But for the most part, they had the story ready to go. So was the story already stolen back then? Because that would mean that that was like 2012, 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. And that's kind of crazy to think about, because what were they making like right then? Because they didn't go Halo Destiny, did they? What did they make? Oh, I guess they did.
Yeah, they did. That's like legit, like just about all Bungie's ever done is literally just Halo and Destiny.
Oh, and now Marathon. And
and now Marathon.
You know what's funny is Aaron asked me why it's called Marathon, and I was like, well, the things, the guys you play as are called runners, so I guess they're running a marathon, you know, marathon. But then I was thinking about it, and it's like, well, everything they've ever produced is a one-word title. Halo.
That's true.
Destiny. Marathon. Interesting. And not only that, but that means that Concord 2 and Art Raiders, neither of those titles would be accepted by their branding company.
That's true.
I'm watching the Discord chat move in the Marathon official Discord, and Pete Parsons' 10th car just went by.
That's fucking great, man.
Yeah, dude, the internet is filled with a bunch of meme lords, dude.
You want to wrap it there?
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a great place to call it.
That is episode 8 of Between a Rock
And a Bald Spot.